Hey folks, summer is long in the past and it's time for me to winterize my pool, and I'm going to show you how to do it, how to take care of your equipment and make sure that the water and the rest of the pool is ready to go come springtime. And the way you can tell if it's time to winterize your pool is when the water is 65 degrees or colder and the temperature is staying cold. I've got that now, so I'm going to get to it. Make sure that your water is clean, you got all the algae out, things like that. And then make sure that the chemicals are balanced, that you have the normal amount of chlorine, the pH is about the right level. And the way I test mine is I use these test strips. So that's what I did. My pool water's good to go. So let's get started with the rest of the process. I bought a kit from Amazon. It's got all the chemicals I need just because it's easier. You can also find stuff like that at Lowe's and Walmart and things like that. But I'll post a link for the one that I bought. And there are different size kits for different pools. Your larger pool, use more chemicals. But the first thing we're gonna do is take this bag of chlorine shock and I'm gonna sprinkle it around the edge of the pool. And for all of the things that we do here, make sure your pump's running and circulating water, because as we put the chemicals in, we want it to get circulated. So all I'm doing here is sprinkling it around the edge of the pool so I get it everywhere. And just do this till all the powder is out. Now that this chlorine shock stuff is in there, I'm gonna give it 15 or 30 minutes in the water, and then I'm gonna dump in this whole bottle of Winterizer. Same thing, I'm gonna sprinkle around the edges. Okay, same as before with that chlorine powder. Just gonna pour this all the way around the edge. And now, same as the other bottle, we've got this other stuff called Winter Stain Away. Okay, so same deal, pour it all the way around the perimeter. At this point, I'm gonna let the pump run for about an hour and get all that stuff distributed. And then the next step will be shutting off the pump and disconnecting hoses, putting that away. It's been over an hour since the water's been circulating, so I know that's good. What I need to do now is get the pumps cleaned and ready for winter. And I say pumps, I didn't really mean it. I'm gonna backwash this pump and get all the dirt and what's in it now out. If you have one of these pumps that came with it, you're using that, you're gonna take it out and take the filter out and clean that. Just get this equipment, then we're gonna shut things off and cap them off. The pumps are clean and they're ready to be taken offline. And the real important thing to do now is to disconnect some of these hoses. And the problem that could happen in wintertime, if it gets freezing temperature, water in these hoses or in the pumps expands and will ruin all the equipment. So I need to cap these, and what I'm going to do, if you come to the inside here, you got water that goes in the skimmer and there's a hose that goes down there. Here's another part that goes to the skimmer. So I'm going to take these caps that came with the pool. I'm going to take this out and plug the hole so I can disconnect that hose and water's not going to be going. And I'm going to drain a little bit of water out of the pool just so that the water level is below the skimmer, so that water is not constantly draining out into the skimmer hose line. I want to be able to disconnect that. Let me get going here. That's the filter that filters the water into the pump. Just gonna plug that. That came with the pool. If you don't have them, I'll put links on those to Amazon. This is the return line from the pump to the pool, and it came with this valve on it. So I'm gonna turn that clockwise to lock it. And now no more water, even though that's where the water for the pump goes back in. If the pump's not connected, the water, because of gravity, will come out. But now that that's shut off, I will be able to disconnect this hose and no water is going to come out. So that one's taken care of. This is the one that you just saw me put the plug in. So I could disconnect this hose, and I'm going to, and no water is going to gush out there. So that's important. And I was showing that the water level is above the skimmer. So if I don't do anything and I disconnect this stuff, the water is going to flow out or stay in there all winter, and then these things are going to crack when it gets freezing. So this is the one that you just saw me plug. And the reason water is coming out of it still is because this valve that I've got here, water's coming from the skimmer down through there to the pump. I'm just gonna let that drain for a little bit. While this one drains some, I'm gonna start disconnecting my pump over here. And again, we're disconnecting all these hoses so they're not filled with water and freezing in the wintertime. Don't lose any of these washers and such. And actually what I might do here is drain this a little bit from that hose just by opening the valve. I don't know if you can see that, but just to get the water level below the skimmer here. And this is another hose that has water in it. So I'm gonna disconnect it here so the water goes out of the hose. And don't lose these black rings here. Just put that in my pocket. And then you may have a different pump. I'm just gonna drain as much water out of this as I can, the pump and the filter assembly. And in this case, just tilt them. Whatever you can do to get water out of your system, that's what you want to do. And then what I may do with my hoses that I've got here, I may or may not take them indoors. Probably just going to stuff rags in the end of them so I can leave them out here. There's no water in them, so they're not going to crack. You can see how far down I got the water. Half inch, an inch below the skimmer. If it rains, okay, some water is going to go out. That's fine. The whole area is going to be wet anyway. The last step about winterizing the water, it comes with this, the kit comes with this floating device that's got some chemicals inside, and you just take a screwdriver to punch a couple of holes in it, and it's got for various size pools. My pool's about 6,000 gallons. I'm just gonna use the maybe two of these, the 10,000 gallon range. So be careful not to poke yourself here, but poke a couple of holes on both sides. And then we just drop that in the water. And then that's the last thing we need to do with the water. And that'll float around all winter and dispense some chemicals. You may want to put your pool cover on. I don't, because I've got a couple of trees nearby and all those leaves are going to get in anyway. And last winter the pool cover sank and it wasn't worth the hassle. So I'll come out every once in a while and scoop out leaves with a net. But otherwise you can do what you want, cover or no cover. That's all there is to it. The water's taken care of. I got water out of all the hoses. I got water out of the filter and the pump. I'm going to stuff rags in the end of in all the openings. Anywhere where there's an opening, I'm going to have a rag, including in these hoses. I'll probably just leave them out here and tuck them close to the pool. I posted links in the description field for the various products I used. You can like and subscribe if that was helpful, but otherwise, thanks for watching.